Okay, let's just pause for a second and think about this. For the very first time in all of human history, you and I are more likely to die from old age than from starvation, disease, or violence. I mean, just let that sink in. The things that have haunted humanity for thousands and thousands of years, we've kind of solved them. So the big question is, what happens now? Let's dive into what this incredible shift could mean for all of us. You know, for pretty much all of history, it didn't really matter where you were born. Whether it was ancient Egypt, medieval India, or even China in the last century, your life, my life, everyone's life was shaped by the exact same three huge problems. Any guesses what they were?
That's right, famine, plague, and war. And look, for millennia, these weren't just issues to be solved. No, they were seen as completely uncontrollable forces. Acts of God, maybe, or just the cruel, unavoidable reality of being human. You could pray, you could make sacrifices, but deep down, everyone just accepted that we were totally helpless.
But then, something absolutely incredible happened in the 21st century. Now, don't get me wrong, these problems haven't vanished completely, but the way we think about them, it's been totally reframed. They're just not the monsters under the bed anymore. This is a massive, massive shift in how we see the world. Think about it. In the past, a famine was just destiny, fate. Today, we call it a political failure. When a plague hits, we don't just gather to pray, we send in the epidemiologists. When a disaster strikes, we don't just blame the gods, we set up an investigation committee and figure out how to stop it from happening again. See the difference? The key takeaway here is that we now see these as technical problems that, with the right know-how, have technical solutions.
All right, let's take famine as an example. In 2010, about 1 million people died from hunger and malnutrition. And yes, that's still an absolute tragedy. But get this. In that same year, 3 million people died from obesity. For the first time in human history, we live in a world where more people die from eating too much than from eating too little. Wow.
In this weird trend, it continues pretty much across the board. So in 2012, about 620,000 people died from violence. That includes wars, crime, everything. But in that same year, 800,000 people died from suicide, and an absolutely staggering 1.5 million died from diabetes. The things that are most likely to kill us have completely changed. There's a quote that just captures this new reality perfectly. It really sums it all up. Basically, we've gotten so good at fighting off the external threats that our biggest dangers now actually come from inside us, from our own biology and the choices we make every day. So this really brings us to a major turning point, right? There's this saying that history hates a vacuum. Now that our old to-do list is pretty much checked off, what are we going to do with all this power and knowledge? What's the next big project for humanity? Well, you know how it goes. Success just makes you more ambitious. After teeming famine, plague, and war, humanity is now aiming for goals that, well, they used to be the stuff of myths and legends, things only gods could do. We're literally writing a brand new agenda for ourselves. And here it is. This new agenda is, well, it's bold, to say the least. Goal number 1, conquer old age. And yeah, defeat death itself. Goal number 2, figure out the secret to constant happiness. And the third, and maybe the wildest one, upgrade ourselves. Upgrade Homo sapiens into something more, to basically become like gods with the power to create. All right, let's dive into that first goal, immortality. And look, this isn't some crazy fringe idea anymore. It's actually the next logical step. I mean, we fought against diseases and plagues, right? We say we value human life more than anything. So if you think about it from a purely scientific point of view, why on earth would we just accept that we have to die? You see, modern science doesn't really look at death as some big philosophical mystery anymore. Instead, it sees it as a technical problem. Your heart stops beating because it's not getting enough oxygen. Cancer grows because of a faulty gene. These are basically just technical glitches in our system. And the thinking is, every technical problem, at least in theory, has a technical solution. And believe me, this isn't just a bunch of scientists talking in a lab. You've got some of the most powerful people in Silicon Valley, like Peter Thiel, pouring serious money and brainpower into this. They're not just philosophizing about death, they've actively declared war on it. I mean, think about it. In 2013,
Google, one of the biggest companies in the world, launched a whole new company called Calico, and its mission to, quote, challenge death. When a company like that gets involved, you know the game has completely changed. This is like the new space race for our generation. And this idea, this ambition to fix the bugs in our biology, it naturally leads to the biggest, most mind-bending goal of all, upgrading ourselves completely. If we can fix the glitches that cause us to die, then hey, what's stopping us from improving the whole operating system? To go from being Homo sapiens to becoming Homo Deus, literally God-human.
So how would we even do that? Well, there are three main paths that scientists are already exploring. The first is biological engineering, getting in there and rewriting our own genetic code. The second is cyborg engineering, merging our biological bodies with technology. And the third path is creating something entirely new, non-organic life, like artificial intelligence, that might one day be even smarter than us.
And again, this isn't some far-off science fiction movie. This stuff is happening right now, today. We already have monkeys that can control robotic arms just by thinking about it. There's a company in Sweden where employees can get a microchip implanted in their hand to open doors and use the photocopier. The cyborg age isn't on its way, it's already here, just showing up in these little pieces. So if we really can solve death, and if we can engineer happiness and upgrade our bodies and minds, we're starting a journey to literally become the kinds of beings we used to worship as gods. But as we go down that road, one tiny upgrade at a time, you have to ask the big question. At what point are we not human anymore? And what comes next?